All right, so we're going to do something a little bit different today. No more news because, there's much more to come, and I'm going to do something this weekend, but I just don't have the time for it tonight. And I want to make sure it's fresh when I do it because, goddamn, yeah. Anyways, I came across something on Psychology Today, and it's where do you stand on the culture wars? I thought this would be pretty interesting to try out. It's a two-part test, essentially. So similar to the political landscape test or something similar to that, but it focuses more on cultural aspects and, well, it focuses on your core values, if you will. Now, it's not a perfect test. By no way is it scientific, to say the least. There's probably some tweaking that would need to happen for it to be completely accurate, but I'll leave a link in the description of the source of where I got this from. Essentially, I'm just copying this guy's quiz, and he has some really cool descriptions on how this works and how this fits in with everything else. Go read the article. It's pretty short. It's written by a award-winning journalist, so it's pretty solid. And what's fun is this was written years ago, so it's amazing that still some of these questions are relevant today. So let's go through it. First things first, there's two sets of 10 questions. You score it between 1 and 10. Okay, so it's a wide range, 5 obviously being about the middle, 1 being greatly disagree, 10 meaning totally agree. So from that scale, let's go forward.
Answer me this.
The government interferes too much in our everyday lives. Too much. Define too much. They take our taxes. They don't necessarily tell us what to do, but they have laws in place like seatbelts and whatnot. They're pushing their boundaries, at least in the United States. So I'm gonna go with a 7. It's not too much, but any more and probably be pushing it, if you get my meaning. Don't step near some of my rights, and I won't step on yours. Question 2. The government needs to make laws that keep people from hurting themselves. No. Absolutely fucking disagree. I disagree with this one because you've already made laws that keep people from hurting themselves, and a lot of good that fucking did. Now, did it? Suicide is illegal in most states. There's still people killing themselves. Seatbelt laws are all over the place. People still don't wear their seatbelt and end up shooting themselves out of a car when they hit a collision. There's plenty of gun regulation and gun laws that are either not followed or circumvented or somewhat, and somebody shoots themselves, shoots each other. Suicide is probably the leading cause, or the leading gun death in the United States is suicide. It's not killing somebody else, it's killing yourself. There's plenty of laws that are intended to stop you from hurting yourself. Even benign laws like warning labels on food items to let you know that it's too hot, because basically that was a regulatory stance so that people can't sue the company for being stupid, essentially. My coffee's too hot and I burnt my pants, so therefore it's like your fault for not telling me my coffee's too hot. Yeah, shut up, you moron. Of course coffee's hot. Government should stop telling people how to live their lives. Abso-fucking-lutely. It's not your business to tell me what I can and cannot do or what I can and cannot say. And if you think it is, you're overstepping your bound. Number 4. The government should do more to advance society's goals, even if that means limiting the freedom and choices of individuals. Abso-fucking-lutely not. I don't want to be New Zealand. I don't want to be Venezuela. That's what socialism does. Oh, we're gonna protect the people by taking away your rights. It's for your safety. No. That's not how life works. Please stop. Too many people today expect society to do things for them that they should have to do for themselves. God damn. Too many people expect society to do things for them that they should have to do for themselves. Yes, abso-fucking-lutely. The government is not here to be your nanny, babysitter, or otherwise. It is here to keep a regulatory peace, and it is to protect our rights. It is not here to be a nanny state and protect you from your feelings. Some people would like it to be that. That's called socialism or communism. Go fuck yourself. No thank you. You do not have the right to protect me. It's none of your goddamn business. Grow a pair. This is the biggest problem I have with these people. People should be able to rely on the government when they need it. Yes, actually. So social safety nets are a big importance. I've needed it in the past. My family's needed it in the past. Some of my family actually worked for the state that provided these benefits. I mean, sometimes shit hits the fan, and you can't just end up destitute in the street. That's cruel and unusual. And sometimes these situations are either brought upon yourself in drug use or stupidity, or you did something that was incredibly dumb and now you are destitute. Other times it's just jobs leave, there's nothing to do, your mortgage is up, they kick you out, just things go downhill and it was completely out of your control. So yeah, a social safety net should absolutely exist, because you never know when you might need it. It's there just in case. And that's a good thing. Society works best when its individuals take responsible for their own lives without telling them what to do. Yes. You need to be responsible for your own actions. You don't need other people to tell you what to do. You should take responsibility. I'm going to do an extended video after this one. This is actually a precursor to something else I'm going to be doing. But yes, absolutely. Individuality, you should take control and take responsibility for all your actions. If you make a mistake, own it. It's what you should do. You shouldn't blame other people for your mistakes. That's just dumb. Number 8, it's society's responsibility to make sure everyone's basic needs are met. No, it is not society's needs or responsibility, but the social safety net is also required. So I'm going to probably go in the middle with that one. Because the social safety net is there to make sure that you're not destitute, that you can at least get back up on your feet. There's also utilities, so you can't freeze to death in your own home. There shouldn't be starvation, stuff like that. That's why the social safety net exists. But to the extent that you should be provided for by the government, no. So right in the middle, I think. People who are successful in business should have the right to enjoy their wealth as they see fit. Yes, because if you're successful, do whatever the hell you want. But that doesn't mean breaking the law, Jesse Smollett. But if you do great things, do whatever you else you want with it. If you want to give it back, go ahead and give it back. If you want to buy a big-ass house, why not? You earned it. I mean, who in their right mind, actually, if you think about this, if you were somehow successful, not overnight, but let's say you made it, seriously, how would you not spoil yourself? Everybody would. Don't give me that shit that you would suddenly become the ultimate humanitarian and you'd give out so much money to the community and shit. No, you'd pay off your debts, you'd pay off your house, you'd pay off your mortgage, you might give some to your family, you'd pay off your student loans if you had any, then you'd start giving to other people. But you take care of yourself first. You be selfish. Don't lie to yourself. That's bullshit. Taxes should be higher on the wealthy as a fair way of getting them to share the benefits society gives them. Well, chances are the wealthy would not need the social safety net, nor would they need to contribute necessarily to the social safety net. They might need it some point in time. But higher taxes just because you made it, that doesn't, I mean, flat rate doesn't make sense, but neither does, I mean, a progressive tax kind of makes sense too, but there's got to be a limit. I'm going to go with like a 6 maybe. Yeah, I'm feeling a 6. So, that's the first half of the quiz. So here's the equation. If you want to copy this and put in Excel, you need the absolute number where you minus the two sets. So 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10, 3, 5, 7, 9, and 11. So even and odd, basically. You add those two together and subtract one another and make it an absolute, because you might get a negative and it needs to be positive for the point graph to work. Anyways, on to set 2. Our society would be better off if the distribution of wealth was more equal. Negatory. But how negative? If it's more equal, we need a middle class. We don't necessarily need a wealthy class, but we need a healthy non-serfdom, and we don't need poor people. Those people should learn to bring themselves up or find marketable skills or whatever. They should be helped in some way. Man, equal distribution of wealth? No, because you're not going to have equal outcome. It'll never end up that way. So, 4, I guess. It doesn't quite make sense to me, but that's all right. Nowadays, it seems like there's just as much discrimination against whites as there are as blacks. Oh, hell yes, that's fairly fucking obvious. We need to dramatically reduce the inequalities between the rich and the poor, whites and the people of color, men and women. Dramatically reduce the inequalities. Well, what was the civil rights movement? What was the gay rights movement? What was all the civil and moral and ethical things that we have done in the past 40 years alone that has done just that? If you're expecting to eliminate bias in general, no, you're not. You will never eliminate bias, period. If you're expecting to play your cards with unconscious bias, good luck with that, because those are primal instincts. Those are evolved instincts. You're not going to get rid of those. Whites and people of color are not unequal. Men and women are not unequal in this country. Other countries, though, yes. So I'm going to put 3, because there's work to be done there, but the catch is not in the Western world. Like, Saudi Arabia needs some feminism, hard feminism. Iran needs some hard feminism, and they're getting it, which is cool. Like, women in protest of the hijab, for example, more power to you. Show it. And unfortunately, they're getting punished and jailed for that shit. It's crazy. Number 4, it seems like blacks, women, homosexuals, and other groups don't want equal rights. They want special rights just for them. Abso-fucking-lutely. That's how they're behaving right now. It's not that they want equal rights. They're advocating for segregation in some cases. They're oh my god, they're asking for some really crazy shit. No thanks. You don't get special treatment. It doesn't happen. It's old-fashioned and wrong to think that one culture's set of values is better than any other culture's way of seeing the world. Incorrect. Progressive values say that culture must progress, and if culture doesn't progress in certain areas, that is a lesser culture. They have not moved forward. The culture centered around the belief of Islam, for example, is barbaric, old, and archaic. The result is inequality, racial tension, slavery, sex slavery, multiple wives or polygamy, if you want to call it that, beating of women, sexual assault, gays are executed, disbelief is treated with disdain if not executed, especially if, there's a caliphate and Sharia is implemented. Just as an example, the most barbaric and archaic places are like that. But if you want to compare West to the West, New Zealand is now becoming the new socialist communist regime with, it looks like the new Stalin is their chief censor. He's throwing people in the gulag for looking at something they shouldn't. I mean, fucking crazy. So, no, it's not backwards, it's progressive. I totally disagree with that statement. 6, women's right movement has gone too far. Yes, it has. It's now become a cult of personality. And there's nothing to say about that because they're advocating for Islam, but the ones that are being oppressed are Islamic states. It's so fucking backwards. We live in a sexist society that is fundamentally set up to discriminate against women. No, it is not. You are absolutely wrong. Everyone and everything is advocating for the opposite. They're just pushing for more than they deserve. You don't get special treatment, you will get equal treatment. If you don't like competing against men, don't step into the workforce with men. Make your own companies full of women and see how that works out. In fact, the last 2 that I know that tried went bankrupt. A lot of problems in our society today come from the decline of the traditional family, where the man works and the woman stays home. Yes and no. Traditional family is necessary for evolutionary purposes. The man and the woman must be present for a normal individual to be raised. I mean, not having a father in the house is detrimental to the success of the children. It has been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt. In fact, demonstrably proven, because most people that end up in prison are without fathers. So, where the man works and the woman stays home, no. I'm going to go with like a 7, I think. Parents should encourage young boys to be more sensitive and less rough and tough. Disagree. They should be cognizant of their feelings. They should understand other people's feelings and be empathetic toward one another. But rough and tumble play is a natural behavior of men. If you think you can alienate this behavior, you have another thing coming. You're going to develop very weak, insensitive, rapey type of men, feminists. They're not going to know how to behave. They're not going to know how to be confident. They're not going to know how to excel. They're not going to know how to stand out. They're going to be basically act like women. I mean, that's what you're asking at that point. Men should act like women because women is the gold standard of behavior. Yeah, I don't think so. Men and women's behavior is different. Rough and tumble play is necessary. However, the catch and caveat to that is there should be a cognizant understanding of other people's feelings. They should understand that. They should have a comprehension of it. At very least. It's important to understand. And it's important to be open about your feelings too. But to make them less, no. There's a time and a place for everything, and that's a part of it. So if you think that's negative, then you don't know male behavior at all. You've been fed a bullshit lie. The last one, society as a whole has become too soft. Absolutely, as I just said in the last one, they're educating kids to nobody loses, everybody gets a trophy. There's so many avocations for tolerance, but tolerance to the extreme. I mean, it's good to be tolerant to literally everything, but not to the extreme where you need to kowtow to somebody who is of that particular persuasion and then they bully you into a position where you basically kiss their ass. No. Mutual respect is one thing, but bowing to people because of their differences is piety. You're now saying they're superior to you. That's racism, essentially, or sexism, or whatever you want to call it. It's ignorant and arrogant. So, no. Yeah, society as a whole has become too soft. Yes, there is still some pushback on it. Depends on where you look. I'm going to go with an 8.
What style is that?
So it looks like I'm an individualist egalitarian, but that means basically a kind of, I don't shift as far as some people would be, and I'm definitely not hierarchical. I'm definitely not a communist. That's what communitarian is. Egalitarian is equal rights, period. As many people know, it's not feminist, it's not meninist, it's both, which I agree with wholeheartedly. But some of these answers obviously mean I push toward hierarchy because I do believe in an ordered society of sorts. So the results, that's what they equal out. And if you go and read the article, he'll tell you more about what these results mean, where it kind of makes you sit. But basically, here's the split. Egalitarian individualist, if you're up in this green quadrant, you're basically an anti-SJW. If you're an individualist hierarchist, you're probably a conservative anti-SJW, and this would be a left-leaning anti-SJW, to kind of give you a split. Over here, if you're an egalitarian communitarian, you're probably an intersectional feminist somewhere around here. Would be kind of a plot twist mix, because a lot of the egalitarian beliefs, they'll actually flag it to that side, and it'll lean heavily toward egalitarianism the more you answer the racial inequality and shit like that, because you want that to be gone, but not to the extreme that they claim. So you'll end up over here, and then down here, hierarchies communitarian is your staunch uber SJW crazy person. These are going to be your extremists, if you will. And they're communist as well. So you'll see them sitting over in this corner. So wherever you kind of sit, this I put as a green box by accident, but it looks like the green one's the good one. I'm just going to throw that out there. It's kind of nice.
What the hell are you? I'm a man.
I thought it'd be a nice little different switch from this week's crazy news cycle. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Give a run through on these questions. I'll share the link in the description of where I got these questions, and then you can look at that guy's chart and the description thereof, and then leave your split in the description. Let's see where people sit. It'd be kind of fun to see where you sit in the culture war. So maybe I'll get to know my audience better. That'd be kind of fun. All right, thank you for watching.
You must leave now. I believe you will be able to find the solution.